So this review is for The Art of Shrek Forever After, and right away I will say that this is a very standard art book, and that is not necessarily a bad thing at all. In fact, I would give this 4.5 stars. That half star is that missing half star is just because it doesn't do anything particularly special, and I like to save the 5-star reviews for those books that really are very impressive and stand out above the rest. And this book just doesn't quite do that. It is, like I said, a very standard art book. But having said that, I do give it 4.5 stars because it's almost like the book you should look to see an art book that does everything right. Because, like I said, it doesn't do anything special, but at the same time, I can't think of anything it does wrong, which is sometimes all you can hope for. So this is actually the only Shrek movie that gets its own art book. The first 3 movies were compiled in Shrek, The Art of the Quest, and there was also a making of and art book for Shrek 1 and 2 called From Swamp to Screen, which I'll put a link to my review for that. So whether or not I would recommend this book really depends on whether or not you like the artwork that you're seeing here. And that's why these flip throughs I think are so helpful, because it takes the sort of guesswork out of whether or not you're going to like an art book. Because even if there are many movies that I like, that then the art book is very unimpressive and I regret purchasing. So hopefully this will be helpful. But I personally really think that the artwork in here is absolutely fantastic. I love the aesthetic and look and feel of the Shrek world. It's sort of one of the only real fantasy medieval animated worlds, and they do such a wonderful job, and this book does such a wonderful job of showing that. From an artistic and technical point of view, the artworks featured in here are absolutely beautiful. They do, the key concept paintings do such a good job of showing the tone. There are sketches, there are props, the character designs and environments, and the character designs, which we'll see coming up, are not just the usual, that where they show just one model of a character. Here we go, so we'll see for Rumpelstiltskin. Very different than what he ends up looking like, but at the same time you can see influences that will end up in here. Look at all these, they really showed the progression of designs, different designs that helped influence or abandoned, and that's something that unfortunately a lot of art books neglect. And here you see how Rumpelstiltskin, I think that's how he sort of looked in Shrek the Third. But yes, you see a huge, and then storyboards, maquettes, and so you've seen the real design evolution of the character. And that's, in a lot of art books they just show the final design. They'll show different perspectives of the character model, of the final character design, some expression changes and things like that. And this book does a really good job of making you feel like you have a real insight into the progression of the character designs. And so there's just tons of really great eye candy filling out the page. Very well laid out, very well designed book. It feels like there's no wasted space. The format, this is published by Insight Editions. The format is a little smaller, both than, say, a usual, like a Pixar or Disney art book. It's got less pages and slightly smaller format, but well, obviously, I always wish there were more pages, but in terms of the sort of smaller format, it's almost a bit more square. It's not that much smaller, but it's just a bit more square than landscape, but I did not find that to be a problem at all. The number of artworks you can stuff in per page and the big pages, none of that suffered, and it was actually, still a lot easier to sort of hold and pleasant to go through. So I actually really liked the sort of smaller format that this book features, and also that may contribute to why this book is actually noticeably cheaper. At least it'll depend where in the world you live and where you buy it from, but I know that even at full price, this is cheaper than comparable art books. So that's nice. They have that. It just, I know I said it is a very standard art book, but it just does everything right. And even though there's nothing that makes me want to say, wow, this is a really amazing coffee table, one of the best art books ever produced, the fact that it doesn't get anything wrong and just gets everything right is still really pleasing. And because I'm such a big fan of this world and the artworks, it's a really fantastic book. And all of the works are labeled with the name of the artist and the medium, which is really nice. Some art books neglect to do that. I know a lot of people just buy these books for the art, purely for the visuals. They don't care about the text or the making of, and I totally get that. That's completely fine. But obviously I'm someone who really enjoys the art and making of. So with these books that are sold as the art of, I'm always interested to see how much text is in there and the quality of the text in relation to the making of the movie or the insight into the design process. And this book does a really good job. That much better than most animated films, art books. You've probably seen going through this, there is quite a bit of text, and even though a lot of it I did recognize from the Blu-ray special features, but a lot of it is unique to this book and really serves to help sort of talk you through the design processes and really get you in the mindset. I feel like the types of comments accompanying the images are also a notch above most other art books. I often complain in reviews that the comments and text is superfluous, but in here it's really good. And let's see, just such a variety of different styles. I definitely enjoyed the text accompanying the images, particularly when they discussed how they've also had to construct or reconstruct a lot of far away to suit the movie's plotline. Other art books should look up to this one. Also, check in the link in the description to go to the art and making of WordPress. That's the site I run. That is, to my knowledge, the most complete listing of art and making of books. So if you'd like these sort of art and making of books, you can go and maybe hopefully discover some you didn't know about. I haven't reviewed them all, but steadily working my way through. So hopefully you enjoyed this look through a really, really fantastic art book, and if you love Shrek and like what you've seen in this, definitely use the Amazon link in the description, and that way you can also help support these videos and the WordPress site, which you should also check out. So that was The Art of Shrek Forever After.